like I said, we
coffee,
soda,
water is good.
Okay.
When you're when I'm finished, you'll come in 5 minutes before the.
Yeah, I'm going to come in. You're going to finish about 9:50. Let's see.
Whatever.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll come in about 5 minutes or before. When you
Okay.
see me standing over here,
All right.
then we'll finish up.
I guess on the agenda, I'm supposed to talk about man-to-man defense, but Steve Cleveland and I made an agreement. We pretty much have kind of had the same mentors, and he's going to take man-to-man defense. Now I'm going to take competitive drills to make, and some of it may be some man-to-man defense things, and how to make take competitive drills and make your practices more competitive, so you can turn it into game-like situations, if that's okay. So with that in mind, I wanted to say that it's been really enjoyable to be here. Numbers don't mean anything to me because I just enjoy talking basketball. I just had we have a coaching clinic every Wednesday night with our camp, and I always probably enjoy that more than the camp itself. We put the campers to bed, then about 10 o'clock we start talking ball, and that I really enjoy, and I really enjoy questions and just talking ball in general because I learn usually more from it than anyone. And it's fun to be here because it's beautiful. I grew up in Kansas. I went to Kansas State, and Tex Winter was the coach there now. The guy the triple post offense, him for the Bulls, so I learned all my basketball from him. Sam Butterfield was the next guy that probably taught me more about man-to-man defense and just how to coach. If you know Eddie Sutton, you just sit down by him on the bench about 2 hours and you walk away saying, man, this guy can coach. And Sam Butterfield could coach. He used to be the AD at Hutch JUCO, and I was his assistant 1 year. And then the next guy that kind of came in my life was Eddie Sutton. And then the third or fourth guy, maybe the fifth guy, was Bud Presley out in California, and then Bud Grant. I mean, Tiny Grant at Fresno State, and now he's retired, lives in Twin Falls, Idaho. So those 5 people probably influenced me in basketball, and that's where I picked up my philosophies. Tex, probably the offensive part, was fast break. The offensive skills, especially passing. Then Sam Butterfield about how to coach. I mean, you got to be there on the bench with him, and decisions and in game time situations, when to call a timeout, when to get on the referees, when not to get on the referees, all those things. And then Eddie was a great practice instructor and a great man-to-man defense because he played for Mr. Iba. And then Bud Presley talks defense, but I think he's an offensive genius. I don't know if you know him or not, but he kind of hides that. I think that, you know, it's like Bobby Knight is a good friend of mine, and he's supposed to be a great defensive coach, but the reason we beat him is not worth a shit on defense. And he's an offensive genius. I really think he is, too. No, I'm just kidding, so I know some of you are probably friends of his, so I don't need any problems out of him. And then Boyd Grant is a guy that could really coach defense, and probably overdid it, he admit now. His kids would shoot the ball, he'd kill them. And at that time it was great for Fresno State because they weren't winning, and they won, and they got in the NIT and won in the championship. And we were talking about this morning at breakfast how if you don't adjust to the times, that you got to be able to let your kids shoot three-pointers, and you got to be able to be more entertaining now, and you got to be able to understand that times change and you better adapt to it or you're going to be in trouble. And it's probably one of the things I admired about Coach Wooden was when he was winning big. Not only did he win big with great talent, and that's difficult to do, to control all his egos, he did it in the entertainment capital of the world and was the main show at that time. That's hard to do in a city like that. Now I think that's all transferred to Vegas. That's probably the entertainment capital of the world now. And he did it with Midwestern values, I call them, good principles of what it takes to live life, and won championships. And he adapted, and he was in his 60s, and he adapted to time. So I think that's important for all of us coaches to understand that even though we may not appreciate the philosophy in the main stream of life now, in the what I call them Gen Xers, the kids nowadays want to have fun, and they don't want to do it at your rate. They want to do it at their rate, and they really don't want to have to endure much pain. So you're going to have to fight through that and teach them and live with them. And if you don't enjoy kids, enjoy being around them, you're going to be in trouble. I like my players. I love them after they graduate. But we're all family at Purdue, and that's probably the thing I'm the proudest of. Our kids graduate at about a 90% rate, and they all come back and are very good at communicating about what things we do wrong. So always only about we don't recruit very good anymore. We're too easy on the kids now compared to what they had in practice, and we have a great family setup there. So, beautiful place here. Played golf yesterday. It was great. Saw the show at Chuck Wagon last night, and he was right. If you haven't been out to eat there, it's great. And if to see the show is tremendous because it's some of the old cowboy songs that we all saw growing up as kids. Maybe you didn't, but I did because I worked in the theater. And it was a nice evening. And for coaches, sometimes you kind of need it. But if you have a family, you might not be able to afford it. I can understand that. You have 4 or 5 with you. Okay, what I want to talk about is kind of get some basic philosophy, work into these drills, talk about some things that we do. Doesn't make it right, doesn't make it wrong, just what I do. It works a little bit. That basically what we try to do is focus our program around team togetherness. We work awfully hard at this. We have a lot of motivational things in our dressing room as far as keeping track of things, charts, and we give them Purdue Pete's. I don't know if you know what a Purdue Pete or not is. It's a guy who carries a sledgehammer, looks like me. Judd Heathcote said they hired me because Keady's the only guy that looked like Purdue Pete, so they had to hire him. So they're a little kind of a man with a helmet and a sledgehammer. That's a Boilermaker, supposedly made boilers back in the early 1900s or whatever, and that's how we got our name. And we're always rewarding kids with those things with the grades, weightlifting, conditioning, practice habits, game production, those sort of things, and they each have a big board up here at the top of the dressing room with their name on it, and if you get 45 Pete's during the year, you get a plaque at the banquet. If we win the Big Ten, that everybody gets one, and even I reward the walk-ons are treated the same way as Glenn Robinson at our place. Glenn Robinson gets no shortcuts, the walk-ons get no shortcuts. So everybody has to stand up and practice, has to be there on time, has to be, they're all treated the same. So we work hard at team togetherness, and probably the reason, maybe we won, I don't know, the reason I can motivate kids is that we have enthusiasm and we are honest with them. And I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. Or if you want to put here team morale, it'd be okay. Second thing is we work awfully hard at fundamentals. I think the 3 most important fundamentals, of course, the things you do the most is pass, shoot, and dribble. So we work awfully hard at those things. But I think a lost art now when we get our kids from high school coaches, and I know you agree with it when you get them junior high, and we all blame the next coach below us, but we don't really blame them. We just try to help each other. Is footwork is a key thing anymore that and I know for years that's been a big problem with a lot of coaches. And then we have kind of the fundamentals of the big 3, block out, get back on D, and make 75% of your free throws. And if you can do these 3 things, you'll win a lot of games. I don't know, or contain the dribble. When I go in at halftime every time, well, I have assistants, and these 3 assistants, each one has 3 things they're responsible for, and we go down and have a checklist on each one, boom, 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 and then we got like some other things down below. But we're always saying, damn, we didn't contain the dribble very good the first half. Somebody's always dribbling by us, you know. We work like heck on that. But the big 3 to me is blocking out, getting back on D, and don't give layups, and making your free throws 75%. So that's all incorporated in there. Third, weights and conditioning. We work awfully hard on that. I don't want weights where you have football-type players. I want weights where you can shoot 3-pointers better. You can jump higher. You're a greyhound type, lean and mean type bodies. I don't want bulky, upstairs type guys. We had a couple of those guys in the 80s. You remember Jim Lewinsky. We had Steven Scheffler, who still plays the Supersonics, Melvin McCants, but that's the way their body build was before we got them. We didn't make them that way. So Lewinsky was, and he was kind of a miracle story. But here's a guy who's 6'4", 175, came out for Lee Rose. You remember Lee Rose, coach at Purdue before I got there, if you remember. This kid was a walk-on for him, and they went to Final Four. Hardly played any for Lee in practice even. I took him on as a walk-on because he was there last year, so I liked his attitude. Then he wasn't even on scholarship. Then he does such a good job. I put him on scholarship the next year as a sophomore because he's been redshirted a year, and then starts to gain weight, becomes involved in playing good enough. He starts his junior year against Akeem when he was at against Houston when he was a freshman, and Akeem was a freshman at Houston. So broke his foot that game. So he got a medical red shirt, so he laid out a year. And unbeknown to us, he's in the weight room on his own every day. And he's gone, now he goes down, he got to about 185 in the year I had him after Lee Rose. Now he's gone from 6'4" to 6'6", 250 in that 4 months period, because I hadn't seen him. We were working, you know, January, February, March. You're in your own deal. He comes out like Mr. Beach, you know. And I didn't know if he was on steroids or what, but I was hoping the hell he wasn't, because we give drug tests every 3 weeks. But it turns out to be MVP in the Big Ten. You know, it's amazing. He's a walk-on. So those things do happen if you work with kids. But that was all through weights. And then conditioning, I see this mountain out here outside my hotel. I think it'd be great to run up that baby, get him in shape, but our players would all quit. But anyway, conditioning is something we work awfully hard at, probably because I went out for track, and I know what the quarter mile can do for your running, can do for your stamina, and for your pride, and for your conditioning, and you're just tough for the last 2 minutes if you're in the best shape than other teams. And we probably win a lot of games in the last 2 minutes because we can outwork you because of our conditioning. And that's one of the things that our kids, when they come back, our family talks about, they come back about the conditioning they had in August, September, and October before practice starts. So we work hard at that. Second, our fourth thing is our fast break. Fast break is probably the fun part of our offense because you can do so many things with that depending on your personnel. I've used Jack Ramsey's turnout. I've used Jerry Tarkanian's secondary break. I've used Larry Brown's secondary break with the Pacers. I use according to what, I use Tex Winter's fast break, according to what our personnel is. And the better athlete, the simpler I think you can keep it. But we use a lot of different fast break options there. And right now, in our fast break, all we're doing is fill in the lanes. We've done so many different things. So many years we would 4 or 5 man to take it out. So say the 4-man's closest to the ball, he takes it out on a made basket. 5-man streaks down here in post, what we call swiveling. He swivels right there in front of the basket so he can catch it and dunk it. And that's, I don't know why that's so hard to do, but we can't get our kids to do that. What is hard about running in front of the basket, throw them a baseball for pass for a layup, or dunk it? Can you get your kids to do that? We can't. It's amazing. But it seems simple to me. We run our 2-man here, 3-point line, 3-man there. 1 man gets the ball, we throw it to him, and he's off to the races, and 4-man fills here. So this is what we've done for years, 4 out, 1 in, off our break. But now we're just going to fill in the lanes and screening out the 2 big guys. And the 5-man takes it out only. So, you know, we've gone from 4 or 5-man, which is too many options sometimes, some years. Now it's 5-man only takes it out. On a miss, we just run and fill the lane. So we're out here. And we spend a lot of time making our kids run here in practice. Make them go out of bounds a little bit, and it makes them do what? Stay wide, because all our kids, when they run, they want to right here and right here and right here, and one guy can cover them all, and it's amazing how they have no basketball savvy. It's amazing. If you don't make them stay wide in the break, they're not going to do it. So the fast break is, so I've used Liddell's secondary break when he was at Brigham Young and Utah State sideline break. I've used a lot of his stuff off of made free throws, too. So we'll fast break off made field goals, missed free throws, made miss in all 4 categories, and use different type of setups. But I don't think this year we're going to do it, because now what happens, people are subbing so much. When they see you've got a free throw, they sub and they stop your fast break. So we've kind of cut that out. Except late in the game where they forget about you, we might do it as a last-second way to score. Put it in late, maybe last 2 minutes of the game. Flexible offense, which means everybody has an option to score. We run a lot of motion stuff, a lot of passing, even some set plays. We don't run many plays anymore because our kids are pretty good athletes, so the passing game is good enough. If we can get them to do that, just cut hard, set your man up and cut hard, screen away. And now with this setup, now we're doing a lot of picking on the ball now, pick and roll, which I wouldn't do. I'd kill you if you did it back in the 60s. I didn't want anybody trapping us or two-timing us, so I wouldn't allow our kids to do it. Now we do it a lot because of the 3-point shot, and the big guy can shoot 3-pointers. This guy right here, he steps out and hits a 3-point. It's part of our offense now. So flexible offense changes according to personnel, I think. You know, you got to be able to understand that 3-point shot's a big part of the game now. And we shoot between 16 and 23-pointers a game now, whereas in the 80s they shot 2, I'd kill them. So, you know, it changes. And if you don't use it, and we justify it by saying if you can make 1 out of 3, you're allowed to shoot them. You know, we play 10 games and this kid's shooting 20%. Guess what? You have no green light. You have no yellow light. You have the red light, you know. And they don't want to hear that because everybody thinks they can shoot now, right? So you have to learn some way to sell them on the fact And 1 out of 3, hey, work on it. Come in at midnight after you get your studies done, work on it. And then the 6th thing, and probably the one that makes us win the biggest, is pressure defense. And it's always been half court or zone matchup, but now we're going more to full court trapping, half court trapping. We've changed that a lot in the last 3 or 4 years because of our personnel, and I think you need to have it to be able to cope with the NCAA playoffs in a neutral court, because the good teams now are going to press you and trap you and get after you with different options. So if you know how to attack the matchup in practice, even out of like Boeheim's traps at Syracuse, they're going to trap you out of their zone, or Patino's full court pressure, or Louisville's full court pressure. If you're always practicing that and practicing against it, then when somebody does it to you, you're able to cope with it. Plus now you can use it to your benefit as one of the weapons. So there's so many years there where we would man-to-man offense, man-to-man defense, and we play the first game, and guess what Jackson State would do to you? 2-1-2 zone, they beat us. Or something, they wouldn't beat us, but you know, they gave you a heck of a game because you've been practicing for 6 weeks against man-to-man. You're not really ready for a zone as much as you'd like to be. So these are the 6 things we function our program around, and if I would give you some thing that maybe in practice that we might do a better job of, and maybe some teams, I'm not sure about that because I don't go to many practices. We probably do a pretty good job of teaching technique, probably a pretty good job of being aggressive, a pretty good job of competing. And that's what I want to kind of center this around next, my drills and so on. So if we're always working on technique, and we're conscious of that in every drill, whether it's man-to-man defense or free throw shooting or stance or whatever, and if we're always trying to get them these kind of go together, aggressiveness and competition in practice is a big part of our practice. We practice 3 hours a day on October 15th until about our first game, and then we'll start cutting off 15, 20, 30 minutes every month. So by NCAA time, we're down to an hour's practice. So we're shortening practices as we get into the season. But if we have a young team, we'll go 3 hours hard because they need it for a lot of reasons. Just to get tough, they need to learn how to play the game because they don't understand how to play the game usually. So really basically we're having people. We had a lady at our program 2 years ago released from her contract. When she got released, she got mad at us and said we were cheating that Keady watched practice. I never watched any of those kids practice. I don't want to, because I don't want to be mad at them until October 15th. Because I know what would happen. I watch some workouts, 5-on-5, 3-on-3. They play what I call rat ball. They're going up and down the floor. Anybody jacks it whenever they want to. There's no screening. There's no cutting. There's no flow balance. There's no defense. And they just play because there's no pressure on them to do things right. So I don't want to watch the jerks because they're not going to play right. So that's all a bunch of baloney. We were cheating. I don't have to cheat. I can coach, I think. So we're going to be doing that all the time. Now, let me talk about the 4 things before I get into the drills, and then we'll go from there. 4 things I think has helped us also with maybe lesser talent some years and some teams, that we do a lot of work one-on-one with the kids, both in the office meetings, one-on-one meetings, and now that they have the rule where we can practice 2 hours a week in fall and spring with 3 kids at a time, we really take advantage of that, work a lot on technique, shooting, passing drills, the toss-back machines, death boxes. We got those, that thing with the big net, what's it called, the shooter? Is that what it's called? Shoot away. We have used some of those gimmicks to help our kids because you don't have as many out there to help. But we do a lot of one-on-one meetings in my office about their grades, what do you need to do to get better, just talking to them, having them talking to them on a personal basis and get to know them better. Because I like my players. I mean, I hate the society they come out of, but that's not their fault. And I get ticked off at them a lot about their being late and want to wear earrings and all that stuff, but you better adjust to that or they'll lose respect for you. And when they see me, no earrings. That's my rule. You can wear an earring to date in, do what you want to do. So when you see me, take that mother out, because my mother wore earrings, and I don't think you're a mother. So no earrings. If you're late, it's a federal offense our place. Up and down in Mackey is 1 step, we call it. You got to do 100 steps if you're late. 1 second if you're late. 100 steps takes 2.5 hours to run it. So you can't be late. It's not very complicated. Second, we're honest with the players that it's not a fruit juice life. It's not a life where they, for some reason, I don't know if you have this with your kids, for some reason, our society has told our players, either through their aunties or their uncles or their, they think that we owe them something because they're a basketball player. They get a parking ticket, we're supposed to pay for it. Are you crazy? You pay for your own damn parking tickets. That's not life that you have somebody look after. I'm not your take care of guy. I'm your father. I'm your coach. I respect you. I love you, but I ain't paying for your parking tickets. You got it. You pay for it. But for some reason, they all think they're going to be pros. And that's a joke. I can't. At every camp I go to, I say, how many of you are going to be NBA players? And they have, 50 kids that hold their hands up, right? At camps, and they're 8-year-olds. And I said, how many of you think you're going to hit uranium in Idaho this week? I said, you have just the same chance. They look like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. I'm going to be an NBA player, But they're not going to be an NBA player. So they better understand it, that they better get something out of life with integrity and honesty and work with some consistency, be able to, and the big thing that's changed all these philosophies is you don't have to have an 8-hour job anymore when you're a kid on Saturday. I had to work at my dad's greenhouse 8 hours every Saturday. I didn't have any choice. So when you're working from 8 to 5, you learn things like you sweep floor, you pick up, you clean the bathroom. You learn that you have to have responsibility. And they don't have that option anymore, so you got to find out what's going on here. You got to be on and tell them what it is, what it's like, and I'm pretty straightforward. So sometimes they don't like me too much. And then you have to be positive. Sometimes this here is hard to do, isn't it? Be honest and be positive, right? Because the first thing you tend to do is be negative about everything. You can't be negative. You got to find ways to get in the kids' heads and see what's make that kid ticks. And it's hard sometimes. And then the last one, you got to be demanding. We want to win, but we want to win with class, and we want to win with kids that play hard, and we want to do it within the rules. And when we leave the dressing room in a game on the road, we try to leave the dressing room better than we found it. Tape's all picked up, the towels are piled in one pile, chewing gum wrappers are put trash can, and they leave the room sharp, and that's the way their room should be, back in their dorm. If you go to a kid and check your kids' dorms, and all the sloppy ones are also sloppy in life. So the ones that are neat are usually pretty neat kids in their own daily habits. Not always. I've had 2 or 3 kids who were very neat, and they weren't worth a dadgum as a player, but that's rare. It all goes together, so we try to teach them those things. So if you're honest and you're positive and demanding one-on-one, I think we can go to the next thing and coach them, and we can get something out of them maybe in over a 2 or 3 year period. It's a situation where we're trying to teach the kids how to compete, how to play the game, and so on. Okay, now what I'm going to do, when I was coming out here on the airplane, I'm always writing stuff down, and I wrote down things that I need to work on better, motivational factors, defensive drills, fast break drills, competitive drills, offensive drills, press drills, out-of-bounds plays. What are we going to do? I'm always working on things. What do you do with 30 seconds to go in the game and we're down 2? I'm always thinking about that in my mind and always trying to practice those things into the game. And I mean, in practice, we always have about a 10 to 15 minute practice time when we have our practice schedule. What we'll do is, in our practice schedule, we have up here the teams. We have the gold team and the black team, so when you know what team you're on that day, we put that down. We have emphasis of the day. Every day it's a new emphasis, better passing, blocking, and so on. You all probably do these things. We have the time, subject, points of emphasis on that drill. And this first hour is warm-up, fundamentals, post defense. God, I mean, we can't get you guys to guard the post. It's amazing. Footwork, getting around post guys. We work awful hard at that. Shooting drills, all this is the first hour. A lot of defensive slides, stretching, all that stuff's done. Then the middle hour is usually breakdown drills on fundamentals. like 3-on-3, stuff like that. And then the last hour is full court stuff. And within that last hour, in the last, say, segment here, is covering last-second situations or last-minute situations when you're tired. And we make up all kinds of things. 30 seconds to go. Shot clock is down to 19 seconds. The ball's on the side, ball's underneath. You got to go full court in 6 seconds and score. You're behind 3. Whatever. We make up all kinds of stuff. So this last segment here is really important to us because that's when you win and lose games. The kids' focus is still there most of the time. A lot of years they leave you about the second hour. They're gone. But usually they turn out as they get older to be pretty good at this. And our practice schedule is very important to us. Probably the most important, enjoyable part of the day is to me is when we practice, when we meet from 9:30 to 11:30 to make our practice schedule out and talk about basketball, watch tape, and talk about our recruiting and do the things together as a staff. Because if you're not careful, the phone's ringing off the wall upstairs. So we have our own meeting room downstairs. I know in high school you can't do that. You have to teach. I did all that too for 7 years. And I went to junior college, and probably the best thing that ever happened to me, junior college, because the kids are from all different nationalities, families. Most of them aren't great students. A lot of them aren't motivated towards things in life that's right, so on. So it was great for me. I had the perfect upbringing for coaching. 7 years in high school was great because you learn to cope with the parents, and you learn that if you don't adjust to the parents' needs and so on, you're going to get your butt fired. And the first thing I learned was if you don't win big, they're going to fire you. You knew that right away. And then the JUCO part was great because you're recruiting every year. You had to go out every year and get players. You're always hustling and working on getting new players. But the main thing you learned about JUCO kids was their character. And if you didn't show them right away that you loved them and respect them and discipline them, they were going to run all over you. And I'd go in their rooms and open up their closet, and if I smell marijuana on their suits, they're out of there. And you can smell marijuana on kids' clothes right away, probably quicker than anything else. So it was a way for me to stay close to them. They understood they had to go to class. And every kid I coached at Hutch for 9 years got their AA degree. That's pretty good for a JUCO. So they all got their AA degree. So we were always on top of them. So it was great to coach there with that type of character check type thing. And that helped me in my upbringing towards people, learning to cope with people. And probably the biggest thing I learned as a kid, I worked for my dad's greenhouse as a high school player and in my first couple years in college, was when you're working with the public, I learn about people, they're always which helped me with my parents and my coach. The customer's always right. Now you may not believe that, and you may in the back of your head like kick this guy in the ass, or this lady, because they're all rude to you. But you have to treat them with respect and make sure they understand that the customer's always right. And that's the way parents are. You listen to them, it's kind of like a good marriage. You listen to them, and you say, that's right, that's probably right, and then have patience with them, and then do what you damn please. But if you fight them and tell them they're wrong, and your kid's not any good, you're in trouble, because they all think their kids are great. You know, and they're not watching their kid, they're watching their kid. They don't focus on anybody's kid except their own. They could care less about team play. Their kid's going to be a pro or a college player. So the main objective of all this that I put up here and talked about these first few minutes is getting teamwork, the team ready. The individual is last, except socially and academically. Then they got to be first. That's got to be a priority. But you're trying to get a team ready. And ball movement is the best way to check that, I think. Okay, now what I want to do now is do some things we do in practice that may help you. Just go up. I think I'd rather use, I like these ink boards better than that because it's always forget and write on the wrong thing.
Here's your coffee.
Dang.
You told me
you
you
bring
want
breakfast.
to go all the way back to 10. Yeah, I'm bringing breakfast in here too.
Rolls for everybody?
I'm supposed to look for the baby that likes to be spoiled.
Yeah,
Husband
sure.
I'll find it here.
Yeah. Blonde?
Yeah. She said you like to be spoiled.
Jeez. Now this is a first.
And said, we just try to service all of our people who come.
You got the best wife in the world.
That's what I told her.
You got to reward her. Buy her some flowers tonight. You won't. You'll be a typical coach and won't buy her nothing. We're all the same, cheap. Right? But that's okay. They love you. I'm going to cover some of these things where you can fit these in your practice session where you want it. And I'm going to kind of tell you where we do them. This first one's called 60-point game. And we'll usually do this in this segment in here someplace, right here before the last second stuff, towards the end of practice where you're tired. It's going to be simulated towards the end of the game when you're going to be tired. In the 60-point game, you get a we're trying to get to 60. And we're playing half court only, and there's no clock. You don't have 35-second clock. Layup is worth 5 points. And that's all you can shoot. You can't shoot jumpers. Layup is 5 points. Foul is 4 points. So you're trying to play D without fouling. And a pass is 1 point every time you make a pass. Got to review these because the season's been over too long. Turnovers, -2, you take off 2. And the last one is, no shot clock. So that's it. So what you're doing, you're playing half court, and when the ball goes back here, it's dead. Probably you'll start out like this. You'll spread them out. This guy, he will be your point guard, probably start with, and he's the only one that can dribble on the first possession. So he can take this thing all the way and get a layup if somebody doesn't contain the dribble. So the first possession, he can dribble. After that, you cannot dribble. So if he passes here and cuts for a layup, he can't dribble. So we're trying to teach him to play now without doing so. Defensively, I mean, you are on him. There's no weak side help to speak of, but once he starts to dribble to the goal, these guys better get back in here and try to take a charge. But we're working on taking care of the basketball, and we're ahead. We'll put up, we're ahead here. We're trying to get to 60. We're simulating that probably. And you equal possession. So if the white shirts or gold shirts starts with the ball, and they make 72 points, the game's not over till this team gets the ball one time too. So you have to have equal possessions, all right? You got me? You might not, if you get to 60 or more, you keep going. Try to get 85 points if you can. Well, you won't, because the first time you run this, it'll be, you get 2 points for 2 passes, and they'll turn it over. So it'll be even. Now it's down to 0. Now the other team takes it, and he can dribble, and he'll turn it over. Now you're down to -2 for that team. The other team has none. Until they get the hang of it, it takes a while. So you got to stay with them and be patient. But late in practice, with this in mind, where you work on an aggressive defense without fouling, which you're going to be behind sometimes, you're going to have to do that, and cutting and moving without the ball, and you know what ends up happening to you, well, at least with us? That's where the 5 zeros will be after 2 passes. Right here. And then they'll wonder why they can't get a layup. It's amazing how kids don't want to have good spacing. Stay wide, cut hard, set your man up, and have patience. And it's amazing how after like 4 weeks of this, if you do it every other day, we don't do these drills every day, we do them every other day to keep it getting from too much monotony. But it's a pretty good drill for late game situation, handling the ball, getting layup, making a layup, finishing the play, and it's one of them we use the most in practice. Any questions on it?
You take away 4 points in foul?
We just add it to the team score. So if you make a layup and get fouled, it's 9 points.
If the point guard passes, say to the guy on the right, and he dribbles the ball,
he can't dribble. Then you turned over. It's a turnover. Anything else? Good questions. Now, the losing team has to run a 2.5 or a 3.5 or a suicide or a 17 in a minute or whatever you want. And the winning team gets to sit down and drink water and poke fun at the losers while they're running. So it becomes, very competitive in practice. We don't encourage the poking fun because that'll come natural. All right, now the 100-point game. Now this is not equal possessions. you can get 100 points right away, it's over.
One more point on that last.
Yes, sir.
Did you say that the team that scores gets to take it out again, or does the losing team get to take it out so you keep the?
You keep the ball as long as you're scoring, yes.
As long as you're scoring.
Yes.
Okay.
You got to get the rebound or steal it or something to get the ball, to get your chance to have the ball. No, it's make it take it.
Yeah. What happens if one team is just so far ahead of the other teams never get any possession? How do you get to that? What do you do to make it equal possession?
Well, they always get the last possession. They're going to turn over something. So it might be 75-0. The other team gets a chance to make it 76-75. And that's what you encourage. You never give up. No matter what, you never give up, because basketball is so crazy. It's so crazy. You have to understand that I've been in games where we were up 9 points with 52 seconds to go, and we got beat. You know, I've been up 10 points with a minute and a half to go, and I go, and you always kick yourself in the behind, because you always have you have to figure out whether your kids can hold the ball, make their free throws, and do a good job making buckets, or you can let them play and throw it away 5 times and still get beat. So, you know, you have to work at it, what you want done. Because all the fans are going to really ridicule you if you hold the ball, miss your free throws, don't score, and you get beat, you know. So you have to be efficient at taking care of the basketball, making your layups, and coach the pudding out of them. And that's no guarantee they're going to win, because the kids have to execute. The practice is in your hands, the game's in the kids' hands. And it took me a long time to learn that, because I always blame myself. We didn't win the national title at Hutch, because that Hutch was on our home court, you know, and I always thought we ought to win it there. But what I figured out when I left was there was so much pressure on our kids to win at home, they were uptight. So, and I didn't even think that. You know, I thought it was me, my dumb ass coaching. So, 100-point game, layup, and post moves, 5 points. So we're trying to teach our kids, you know, to get in here and get layups like we did another drill, but also we're working in here on post moves. We'll work on 4 post moves. If you're here, we're throwing it there at a little swing hook. If the guy's playing here, you're throwing to the hand, you're drop stepping. If he's playing behind you, you're going to do a crossover draw through, I call it, or a turnaround jumper. So if they get any post moves in this area, box to box, in there, it's the 5 points too. Turnaround jumper here, doesn't count. Too deep. 5 points. Okay, fouls again, 4 points the same. That didn't change any. Next, 3-point shots, 3 points. So you have regular scoring. I'll just say regular scoring. So you get 3 for threes, 2 for layups, and so on, for jumpers. And a pass is 1 point, and turnovers 2. It's like almost like the other one. All we've added really here is this, regular scoring. Now we're going full court. If you score, it's make it, take it. You stop, and they run it at half court again. But when missed shots are going to full court now. Any questions on this? Okay, now the next thing we try to do is a 3-on-3 box out. This is rebounding. We have like 12 kids usually that are healthy, and this will be gold, this is black, gold and black, gold and black. These are teams, and we have our managers keep track of all this. Managers keep track of they run the score clock. They keep track of every shot a kid takes in practice. We chart it, layups or whatever. So after that practice, I can tell you this kid's shooting this for 3-pointers, and our shooting drills, it's all charted, so I can tell you what they're shooting. And the manager, we have 8 managers, 2 in each class, and the seniors get scholarships, and the rest of them don't. And it's a matter of understanding the managers run sprints sometimes, because they're not watching, they're not scoring. Because they screw up in the scoring or they're not paying attention, boom, on the line, man, we're running you. And the players love that, see, because they've been getting their butts run now for about 4 weeks, and then make the managers run because they're not paying attention. They love it. So it's kind of a break that helps the sense of humor of people. So what I do when I get the ball here, I shoot it myself because I can put it on the rim where I want it, make or miss. Usually we're usually trying to miss. This is a blockout drill. You get 1 point for a defensive rebound. You get 2 points for an offensive rebound. Then you can score and get 1 more point. So you could get an offensive rebound, score, and get 3 points. And we're going to go around twice. Everybody's going to block out twice. You guys, one of your assistant coaches keep track of it. And you need to put a coach here, a coach here, and a coach here, so you're watching all angles of rebounding, but I'm shooting it. And I'll shoot it here, boom. They turn, if this guy block out, turn, block out, and what I'll try to do also from the 2 angles is, what I'll do is make this guy come block this guy out, make this guy come block this guy out, make this guy come block this out, so they're rotating. Because if they just stand there and block out, it becomes very physical and they foul each other too much. So you make a move to block out on the angles. Up here, when I shoot it up here, it's just straight on. They straight on block out like it would be from that angle. But we're always working on rotating to a different angle to block somebody out and make a move. So when I shoot here and we get some points out of that position, I rotate to here. When we get points out of that rotation, I rotate here, but it's always the same 3. We don't change yet, all right? So if all 3 of the O's get the defensive rebound, scores 3-0. Now I'm going to come back. We take this kid here and put him here. This kid slides up. Now the X's are blocking the O's off, and I start and come back this way. I shoot it here, and I shoot it here. So we're working on those angles. So it may be I shoot it, and you'll make it, so you don't count it. If I make it, it doesn't count. That position's no good. Or I shoot it, and it goes out of bounds. It doesn't count. You have to get a point out of that shot before you move to the next area. All right? So and then everybody goes around twice. And what we try to do, and as you know and I know, block out is so focused, concentrate on being focused, and one of the places you have to make them think a little is when a shot goes up. But most kids, at least for our kids for at least a year and a half, it's always watch the ball on the shot, and they blow by you, and they go in and get off his rebound. Instead of watching the guy, front pivot, get your hands up, and make sure you keep in contact with him for a split second, not very long, because I don't want him riding him, because I want him to go get the ball. I want him to pivot, front pivot or reverse pivot, I don't care which one. We don't teach that. All I want to do is watch the guy. Where's he going? He's going that way. You step across, get contact with your buddy on his upper thigh, or hers if you're coaching the girls, or here, and the main thing is get your hands up and go get the ball. And it's not very complicated. So we're always working on that and never satisfied with it. We're never satisfied with our blocking out. It's amazing. We never come in and say, man, at halftime, we did a good job blocking out tonight. We never say that, do you? I mean, we never say that. And we work on it so hard, and we get really frustrated about it. And the other one is, man, we couldn't contain the dribble. Or we didn't get back, we're not running back on D. And those are the things people don't want to do, like in our society right now. They don't want to be on time. They want to have fun. They want to have a party tonight with nobody pressuring them or making them be any place at a certain time. Tough. You're going to do it, or you're not playing here. It's that simple, but you got to do it in a way that's, I think, salesmanship-like, or you're having competitiveness in some way, and you're really trying to teach these kids here, because if you just work on blockout drills, or you make the kids work on blockout, what happens to your offensive rebounders? They just stand there, don't they? They let them block them out. So what we're teaching these guys here now is slice there, work at trying to get an offensive rebound, or you're watching the angle of the shot. If I shoot the ball here, it's going to go one of 3 places, isn't it? It's either going to go in, which it doesn't hurt anything then, except you got your point scored against you, or it's probably going to go over here. Or it may hit short and come back here. What would you say, 1/3 here? 2/3 here? Anybody got stats on that? That's reasonable. Sounds good, doesn't it, to your players at least. We don't have the stats on that. I don't, at least. I've been coaching 38 years. I don't know what it is. But it's making your kids do what? Think about angles of the shot. Where's the ball going? And you're always trying to teach them to understand there's going to be air balls, there's going to be tick it and go straight down, and you have to be ready for that stuff. The hustlers, the kids that hustle, get those loose balls. You ever notice that? They're always there, boom, I got the air ball, or I got the loose ball, or I got the ball when it's on the floor. And then you always like, I think a team that does the best job of that is Connecticut. They're always getting loose balls. It's amazing. You know how certain teams have certain tendencies? Connecticut does a great job blocking out on the boards, and they do a great job getting loose balls. And when we play that team, I'm always telling my kids about blocking out better and getting loose balls, and they've never beaten us, either one of them yet. Now, why don't I do that every game? You know? But you're thinking about other stuff now as a coach. So this blockout drill is good because you're working on some stuff, and you're trying to make it as game-like. I'm here, you know, and the ball's here. So these kids, we teach our kids, if the ball's below free throw line, the ball's here below free throw line standing, I'm guarding this guy, I should be halfway. So I'm right there in a line with the ball, one step off the line. If the ball's here, I'm up there with the ball now, then I want you straddling that line. So the ball should be up a little bit right there. So you're teaching them to be conscious of a certain distance away from the ball. And I don't know whether it's right or wrong, being that far off, but you're teaching them to be off to the ball, and you're giving them something to focus on, right? So you taught them the right way to be off to the ball. But you and I both know that this kid can be really quick, right? And be here, and if that guy comes on the dribble, he can still get there to the ball, can he? Or she can. But if he's real slow, he ought to be off a little bit more according to his quickness. Now, kids don't want to admit they're slow. They don't want to admit that, or somebody's quicker than me. You know, so you have to teach them where they need to be. So we do a lot of work on that. So that's the blockout drill, and we use that almost every day to our first game. It's one of the few drills we do use every day, because I don't care if they get bored, because it's a very big part of winning. Okay, one-on-one. We play one-on-one some just to break the monotony about once a week. Get the ball is 1 point. What we'll do, again, this is team, like that blockout drill, losers run. Losers run, winners get drink. This is one-on-one. Black shirts are going this way. Gold shirts are going this way. We lay this kid on his back, put a ball there. We lay a kid here and a kid here, we put a ball there. I blow the whistle, and whoever gets the ball gets a point. You got to get up, get the ball, and go get ready to play one-on-one then. If you get the ball, you get a point. If you score, you get 2 points. If you stop the guy from scoring, you get 3 points, and if it's a foul, it's 2 points. So you're working on one-on-one. We'll say this is X and this is O. I blow the whistle. X gets the ball. He's on offense now, which is not the way I usually do it. Now they're playing one-on-one here. He's trying to. If he shuts him out, it's 3 points for that team. If he scores, it's 2 points. We're emphasizing defense, as you can see. If you get the ball, it's 1 point. So if you get the ball and score, you can still get 3 points, which would normally be even. If you get a shot, so it ends up to be even points. And then they keep track of all the gold points in the black, and again we run. Okay? Okay, here we go. 20-point game. Shutouts 2 points. Scores 1 point. Offensive rebounds 1 point. Fouls 1 point, and the ball, and we're playing full court. 20-point game. Shutouts 2 points. Scores 1 point. Offensive rebounds 1 point. Fouls 1 point, and you get the ball. And that's kind of good because we're going to practice probably in the order of sequence here and what I've given you so far. We're probably going to have the blockout drill somewhere in this practice session in here, someplace. We'll do that earlier in the practice. We'll do the 60-point game first day of the first practice late, like I said. We'll do the 20-point game maybe the next day in practice in this, in a full court time in here. And then we'll do the 100-point game like a week and a half into practice, and where you're giving more full court responsibilities and so on. Maybe you put in out of bounds plays and so on. That kind of gives you an idea. This is first, and the 60-point game probably comes in last part of practice. The 20-point game we'll do early in the first 2 or 3 weeks a lot. 100-point game once in a while, but not too often.
One-on-one.
One-on-one is one of the first things we do. We call that an aggressiveness drill. Sorry, go ahead.
The next two guys go after a basket's made. Or
Yeah, you're lined up over here. You got black and white, black and gold shirts lined up here, black and gold shirts, and the next two come here and lay down, lay down. They come in, lay down, lay down. All right? So you divided them up already according to size. Usually I'll say big guys guard a big guy, medium-sized guy guard me. And then sometimes I'll say little guy guard a big guy. Mix it up after you get into practice a week or so. Okay. Aggressiveness drill. We might just say, you know, if we're just going to play, get foul 1 point, get the ball 1 point, score 1 point, shut out 1 point, just to be aggressive. And the way I do that, and you got to be careful with this because depends on your AD. He might come watch practice. We'll line up here and here. This is all zero because they're all the same. And I don't give a damn about the point because I am pissed about something. I get right here, and I roll the ball, and guess what? You got to dive on it. You go get the ball. Whoever gets the ball gets 1 point, fouls 1 point, scores 1 point, shutouts 1 point. And you do it once every 6 weeks. But it's good because you now have had trouble with your kids diving on the floor. You got a couple wusses that don't want to dive. They think they're better than that. There's always the tough kids that are always diving, and you got these guys that never want to dive, so everybody has to dive, get the ball, and then, you know, you do it once is enough. You'll press your luck. But you got an AD that's not understanding of that drill, I would suggest you don't do it. Okay? But that's not something that I would do very often. Aggressiveness drill, about taking a charge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ball, 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 ball. He won't take a charge in a game. Usually your leading scorer or some guy that was the McDonald's All-Star last year who thinks he's hot stuff. Or some kid in school that thinks he's something he's not. You've always got the kids that think they're better than they are, right? Right? Oh, we all have those guys. They think they're better than they are, and you're bordering on really not liking them much. But you know they're just a kid, so you still love them. I call out a number, 5. Boom, boom, boom. He's got to take a charge outside the lane. Committee votes on it. The committee being my players. If he passes the committee voting that he did a job with good technique, taking the charge, you know, protecting yourself, yelling loud, falling at the proper time, and protecting yourself, and don't get hurt. There's a certain way to take a charge. Slide on the floor and yell like a shot putter. You pass it, you're out of there. We'll put somebody else in. Or, if I really am hot at this kid about something, we'll let him take all 5 charges. You know, but I call a number out 2. He comes in, boom, take a charge, and the committee votes on it, and if he's voted out of there, that's fine. But that might happen every 6 weeks or so, because we work on some other drills where it's not really an aggressiveness drill. We call these alley drills, and we'll do 3 things out of them every day on the road. When we go on the road, everybody says, well, how come you guys win on the road so much? I think it's a way, our mentality towards we know everybody's against us, the drills we do the night before, and the alley drill is something we work hard on, that we work on dribble containment. This is an alley, and over here is an alley. You got contain a dribble, all the way down here, and he comes over here, and he does it. Now this guy's going to dribble here, and he contain. You got to contain a dribble with good technique. We work on that. Then we do the stop and go. This guy gets behind him, and he's blowing by him. He's got to get up here and break down and stop the ball. How do you stop a dribbler that's beating you? We got to turn and sprint. So we work hard on sprinting, get ahead. We call this stop and go. The first one was buddy dribble. And we do stop and go. And now we're going to take a charge. He's got to sprint here and take a charge. Stop. We say go again. He dribbles. He sprints here and takes a charge. They got to take a charge there and there. Go over here. Other guy take a charge there and there. You take 2 charges. If we like the way everybody takes charges, we go on to the next drill. But we take a charge the day before the game on the road every day of the year. And it's a matter of understanding that dribble containment, people beat you sometimes. You got to sprint and take a charge is a 5-minute drill. It doesn't take long, but it sets your mind towards being ready to play. And they know that, you know, this is part of the business on the road. And we know that we all got to be together and have great camaraderie and have good team chemistry, and stopping people is the way you win on the road. And then when you stop people, and if you're not shooting well that night, you got a chance to win on the road. All right, 30-point game in our press. It's called a 30-point game, and most of this is in our press. Defensive rebounds, 1 point. Offensive rebounds, 2 points. A putback is 3 points. Offensive rebound, put it back is 3 points. A deflection is 1 point. We're always talking about deflections. We keep charts. How many deflections we got at halftime? Good traps, 1 point. A steal is 5 points. A foul is 1 point, and a score is 1 point. And the first team to 30 wins, and the losers run. So, 30-point game is mostly in our press. In our press system now, and we're really trying to get a lot better at this the last 3 or 4 years. Since Glenn was there, we did it with Glenn. We put him up on the ball a lot. What we've gone to now is most of this is off just early in practice. We'll do this just to teach. Now, we've already worked on 2 things. Let me put this in first. We worked on trapping. We'll put one group there, and one group there, and one group there, and we'll put 3 guys in here, and 3 guys in here. You got half the coaches this in watching it, other 2 coaches this in watching it, and if we throw the ball, I throw the ball to this guy right here, they come trap this guy, and this guy's got to go. Can't throw it next to you. He's got to throw it the long way, one of these 2. So you got these 2 guys trapping, you got this guy as the interceptor. So we've already worked on that. Trapping with good technique, and then also we'll do the circle trap drill. I don't know if you've done this or not. But I got that lopsided to get this balanced up. That we'll throw the ball to this guy. These 2 got to come trap. He's the interceptor. They got to stay on the circle. That way they don't get too far apart. He'll throw it to one of these 2 guys. Then they'll come trap him, and the other guy's the interceptor. So you worked on this already. We've already worked on these 2 things, trapping, anticipating, and working on good technique in the trap. So now, on made free throws, or mainly, usually we start out with 3-on-3. That we're going to work on trapping, and you might designate where you want to trap him, or you might just say you put a big guy, and he goes, I like to trap with the big guy on the ball. Big guy's going to come to trap, because the big guy's man now is open, and if he gets the ball, he's not going to dribble and hurt you much, is he? And usually big guys aren't very good passers. So I don't care if a big guy catches it over our head. So say we throw it in, he comes up, he throws it in to this guy, this 5-man leaves and comes traps, he traps, and this guy becomes the interceptor. So now we're starting to incorporate our trapping drills into half-court and full-court traps, and then we'll end up with the 5-man thing I just talked about here. Man-to-man, what we've gone to now is match-up, made free throws, man-to-man. Just get a man and trap anywhere you want to. Now, you think that's not a change in my philosophy? Because if you trapped anywhere you wanted to, I would kill you, you know. But now, with good athletes, they're all about 6'5", some of them are 6'6", maybe 6'2", but they're pretty quick. We'll let them match up with the guy, and we'll have a trap any place you want to. Whereas it used to be, I'd say trap here only, say in a 1-2-1-1, your old diamond trap. Trap the first pass only, then we're back getting into the man-to-man. Or in the 2-2-1 box, trap here and here, and now we've gone to trap anywhere you want to out of matchup. And it's worked pretty good because the kids now are starting to work hard at recovering and coming behind, knocking the ball forward, and we work on all those things. And that's another thing out of the alley drill I meant to mention I added some years ago, and you probably already had this. In this alley drill I talked about a while ago, we'll let the guy dribble with his outside hand. We don't want him to, but we'll let him do it with his outside hand. Man come from behind and knock it forward. This man has to dive parallel to the floor and dive and knock the ball forward. And that comes with working on some part of the press. So we've added that to the alley drill too. I forgot to mention that while ago, the fourth thing. What happens now is this drill becomes important because the kids start to see you've got to rebound defensively in order to fast break. Offensive rebounds are good because when you're pressing, how are you? You're spread out, aren't you? So if I come down and the reason I allow our kids to do three-pointers now a little more free is the other three guys have a better chance to become offensive rebounders. And they better get some offensive rebounders or the three-point shooting becomes null and void. So they understand if they rebound, they're allowed to keep shooting three-pointers. And the main thing is I got to deal with them. If you play hard on defense and you got a great attitude towards life, academics, being on time, I really don't have many red lights in shooting. I want to make a deal with you. You play hard, you've got a great attitude towards, I don't care how much I play and all that stuff. If you're in there pouting and all that bullshit, hey, you can't shoot tonight. You know, I don't want to hear any of your baloney. But you're not a team man. You don't understand what life's all about. A family is everybody's together. I don't say that very often because they start to understand real quick this is a family. But what we have to get cut in early is you're going to be on the road, we're going to be together, and we really don't have anybody care whether we win or lose down deep other than us. So they work hard now on offensive rebounds, putbacks, deflections. Just get a finger on it. Pick that ball, knock it out of bounds. Now we can put the man on the ball and trap the first pass in. A different set at half court. In our system, if we do this, we trap the first pass to the wing and rotate. This means if you see us on TV next year and you play us, this is, I'm telling you right now, this is trap the first dribble across half court. So we do all that stuff all the time now, whereas we never used to do it before at all. And I think the best thing about it is you're always practicing against it. So when somebody does it to you, it never bothers you. You're always throwing it over the defense, or you're dribbling through traps, and you're ready for them, and you're able to cope with the new, quick, pressing defenses at no matter whether it's full court, half court, or three-quarter court, and you're still having these competitive drills where it's fun, and they're always, you know, trying to get better at their game in certain areas. We're emphasizing certain areas here. And then the last one, where are we? What we got? 10 more minutes? Huh? Where are we? What time is this supposed to be over? 9:45. What time is? Oh, 9:45 it's over? Oh, okay. Question? Oh, okay. 22, okay. Anything so far, any questions about anything? Has I gone too fast on or you didn't understand? Because sometimes you're blowing by stuff and you can't assume anything. You've broken that word down, haven't you? Huh? You can't assume anything. If you assume it, you know what's going to happen. One of you's going to end up being an ass. So you can't think, well, he knows that. He doesn't know that. You have to teach him that. And if you assume a kid knows this is what's going to happen on a missed free throw or a made free throw or a half-court situation, he's not going to know it because he could care less. They want to shoot, do what they want to do, have fun, watch TV late tonight. That's their idea of life. It's not like it used to be. We have to work to make a living. Well, their mom and dad works and you work, they got money. I mean, people have money now. We didn't have money before much. Question, I'm sorry.
What was that circle